of 576 days, there would have been 35,000 times where I wanted to give up.
They say a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
Tim Franklin runs the world.
He has travelled more than 20,000 kilometres and he didn't just walk, he ran.
He finishes his epic task in his Aussie hometown.
How does one run around the world?
The rules state that you have to run a minimum of...
See, that's the bit I don't get. To actually decide that that's a good idea, because that seems like quite difficult to do.
Yeah, I don't think it was a good idea. And then obviously I got the call from back home. My father, he's dying. You got to come. If you want to come home to say goodbye, come now. And said goodbye to him, thanked him for everything he's done for me. He goes, you get back out there and finish that damned run. Were literally his last words to me. I got back on a plane on the Thursday afternoon and he passed away on the Friday morning. Coming home last weekend and seeing the people there was pretty phenomenal. So it sort of made it all worth it. The adventure was always the driver. We made a pact that we would immerse ourselves as much as possible. Like in Spain, for instance, I went to this big coffee shop. I walk in, high vis, running singlet. I'm the weirdo. Everyone just turned and looked at me. And I'm like, hola! Day 1 team, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 47, day 80, day 100, day 150, day 205, day 293, day 328, day 398, day 401, day 460, day 500, day 551, day 576. Tim runs the world. Here we are, New Farm Park, Rotunda, heading to South Bank.
Well, Tim, thank you very much for joining us. How are you?
No, I'm good. Thanks, lads. Thanks for having me. Yeah, here we are.
That's amazing. Pleasure. It's a full circle moment for us, really, because I'll be honest, like your journey was so long that like Dave, the Brit that knows jack shit, the producer over there, he was this morning, he was like, Tim was on episode 134 of the podcast. And I think we're now up to like 238 official podcast episodes. So that was some time that you're away for.
Yeah, I was on the road for 18, 19 months, I think, 576 days in total. And yeah, it was a couple of months before I started. It'd be close to 2 years.
It's incredible. It's incredible. Wow. And we're gonna get to a bit more about obviously the run in particular, but how's just a general check-in? How is the body currently recovered? You feel okay, or is it something that takes because we ran the marathon on the weekend as well, myself, Skin and Mika, so it's it's a pretty big achievement, I know.
Similar number of kilometres, obviously.
You guys get it. Yeah.
So it's runners talking to runners here. I would say that I tried to run yesterday and I still didn't like it very much. And that's 3 or 4 days after running a marathon. So in terms of running for sort of like 2 years, what's the recovery time we're looking at?
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest. It's funny. I've split it into two things. Physically, I'm tired. I'm just tired all the time, like out of routine, not going to bed early because I'm not smashing my body every day. So all that pattern, all the routine's gone. Body feels pretty good though. I ran, while you guys were bashing out the marathon, I chucked in a little cheeky half down on the Gold Coast and that probably hurt me more.
Yeah, why would you do that?
I had FOMO. Simple. I was like, I need to be involved in this. These are my people.
Did you consider like maybe just standing on the sideline holding a sign?
Well, that was Sunday. That was Sunday, yeah, when I was, cheered everyone on, which was a lot of fun because I saw, some people run past and I'm like, you're having a tough day. And I was glad I wasn't one of those people. Yes. But the body feels pretty good. And the mind is good in terms of I want to keep running. What's next? I'm looking forward to continuing to, push. Yeah. But in terms of reintegrating back into society, it's been a big struggle. Lost is a word. Yeah, it's strange. I've had to worry, I've been single-minded for so long.
Yeah.
Having to think about car registration, license, credit cards, people, all this other stuff, where am I going to live? All that, what's next? I don't even know how to put it into words. Just lost is probably the best way to describe.
Right. Okay. Wow. Have you got, in terms of, wow, that's interesting. I wouldn't have thought that some of those things would be that you would have to be thinking about that so much. But in terms of like what is next and stuff like that, what ideas have you got at the moment? What's rolling around in your head? I'm
really keen to keep pushing that message. Like about, I don't know, a third of the way in, I came up with this: get out, get moving, have fun doing it. Yeah. Pow, pow. Nice. Became like my thing that I was doing, my shtick, if you will.
Where did the pow pow
completely
come from?
made it up. I completely made it up one day and just went, I'll stick with it and see what happens. So I really want to keep pushing that message.
Yep.
And the charity partners of my run I work with. So I want to somehow combine all of that into what I do next. And then obviously I've got a story to share. And I'd love to share that to as many people, not just the good parts, but, you know, the hard parts and the reality of it, and then keep coaching as well. But apart from that, the world's my oyster, really. I've seen so much of it, but so little of it as well. So I want to get out and travel more and go on more. Like, it was just the greatest adventure of all time. And I just want to keep adventuring.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Tim, can we take you back to the start a little bit here? Because just if anyone who's listening for the first time is new, does not know, like we've sort of given a little summary as to obviously what you've achieved here, but how does one, I remember you came onto our podcast in episode 138, I think we said, and we were sort of questioning like, how does one run around the world, right? Because like there's, you know, things like oceans and stuff that get in the middle that's would be annoying for that type of thing, I would assume.
Bless Jesus.
More suited to a triathlete, potentially. But can you refresh sort of our memory of like the criteria that you had to look at for completing this task?
Yeah. So there's a group called the World Runners Association, which set the rules. And the
it's
rules.
It's so amazing that, like, sorry to interrupt here, but this group, did they just like appoint themselves? Like, what? How does one become? They're just one day they're like, you know what we need?
What the world's missing is a World Runners Association.
Because if there's anyone that's going to try and run around the world, they need rules.
Well, everyone that's a member has done it. So in order to become a member of the World Runners Association, you have to have completed the run, save for one guy who's the secretary/president, who is just a stickler for keeping it honest.
Right.
Which is awesome. Right. So there's Phil is his name. He's an Aussie. So there's him, and then there's the 7 people that have done it, and now me, who I'm the 8th person to completed the endeavor.
So do you get automatic registration into the club?
I would hope so. And I'm advocating for like green jackets, like the Masters. Like, we got to have something. Yeah. Like something like serious. Like I want a jacket. I think a jacket's fair.
I think absolutely. I think a jacket's very fair.
And then order like a baggy something with our number on it. Or
not just like a baggy pair of pants.
Well, every pair of pants I got is baggy at the moment. Right. So they set out the rules. So to be honest, I don't know who said, all right, these are the rules, but the rules state that you have to run a minimum of 26,232 kilometers. You have to run on a minimum of 4 continents. And that 26,232 kilometers came from lining the continents up together, save for Antarctica and Africa, because Africa is on the same longitudes as Europe. So they just went, so to run across the world is 26,232 kilometers. So that's how they got to that number. You have to run on a minimum of 4 continents, and for a continent to count, you have to run a minimum of 3,000 kilometers on that continent, and you have to start within 1 kilometer of the ocean on one side and finish within 1 kilometer of the ocean on the other side. You have to pass every line of longitude in one direction. So when you're on a plane, you can't do one continent and then fly backwards to do another one, then fly forward. You have to do them consecutively.
Right.
Wherever you finish the day before, that's exactly where you have to start the next day. So you can't, finish outside of town, drive into town and start from that town. You have to go back to that location and keep running. So it's got to be a continuous run. Wow. I think they're the main rules.
How many continents are there in the world?
7.
So which ones did you flick? Which ones get there?
Antarctica.
Has anyone ever done it and chosen Antarctica?
No. And Africa.
Yeah,
are the two that I.
So Antarctica makes sense. It's like running on ice, I assume, would not be great.
Well, you just can't do it. Like, well, you can do it, but like there's like 3 people in history that have
done it,
gone across
Yeah.
Antarctica. So, and it costs like millions of dollars. My understanding is.
Oh, right. Good for the ice baths.
Well, yeah, your recovery would be good, wouldn't it?
And then Africa more so due to wild animals.
And logistically, it's probably there's safer continents to run across. And I followed a path that's relatively well worn. So the way I went, one other Aussie's done it, and he's the whole reason that I knew it was a thing. I met him about 7 years ago, and he told me that he'd done it. So I was like, that sounds fun.
How did you meet him?
So this is how it all started. I was on an aeroplane out to Birdsville. I was going to run across the Simpson Desert in an ultra marathon across the Simpson Desert. And I was sitting next to a guy on a plane.
It's so funny how you say these things like they're just throwaway. I'm just going to go down to the shops and run an ultra in the Simpson Desert.
And it was fun. That was my first ever foray into ultra running. And the guy sitting next to me on a plane was reading a book written by a guy called Tom Dennis, who had run around the world. And Tom Dennis was sitting behind us on the same plane.
What?
He was in the race.
Wow.
So it was serendipitous, one would say.
Absolutely.
Okay. And that's how I just got talking to him, and I was like, this sounds cool. This is something that I want to do. I wanted adventure. I wanted a break from reality, I suppose, for a bit. And that's sort of the genesis of where it all began.
Right. See, that's the bit I don't get. I can understand how the idea pops into your head. You see this guy reading a book and sort of that occurs to you. But to actually decide that that's a good idea, help me understand that. Like, what's going on in your life that you think I'm gonna go run 26,000 kilometers? That seems like quite difficult to do.
Yeah, I don't think it's a good idea.
Okay.
I just one of those people that. How do I say this? I just do. I probably don't think about it enough. I go in with a level of naivety and ignorance, which I think if I didn't have, I wouldn't do. I think if I'd thought about, and I also think about what can go right as opposed to what can go wrong.
That'd be quite a good quality.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, in some respects it is. In others, it's somewhat haphazard as well, and like may put myself in positions where it's not the safest or whatever. But I do and worry about consequences in it, I suppose, or after it. So I was just going to do it. I have nothing keeping me. Like I'm not in a relationship. I don't have kids. I've got a mortgage, but I can rent my house out. There was nothing holding me to Brisbane, and I just wanted a break. I'd never had a gap year like a lot of people. I just went school, uni, full-time employment. I just wanted a break, and it was now or never.
Yeah,
and then literally I just started planning, booked in a date, and then COVID hit.
Right.
And which was probably a really good thing in hindsight, obviously not for the globe, but good for my planning because it gave me more time physically to prepare, financially to prepare, and probably a little bit mentally to prepare as well. And then I set a date and I was like, well, I'm going. And I think a lot of people are like, nah, he's not going to do it. He won't do it.
Yeah.
Like, well, why would you do that? You're not going to do it. You won't get it done.
Yes.
And here we are.
Yeah. There is like quite a big step between, and Mikas, I'm actually not saying this to take the piss out of you. I just want to draw comparisons between and I'm bringing, Tim obviously knows there is big difference between having an idea, particularly something that's as ridiculous as that, right? And then executing it. And I feel like, like Mikas, he came out on the podcast and sort of made the statement that he was going to run 50 marathons this year, which he still could do.
Obviously.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
I'm backing you.
Yeah. So Mikas can still do that, but it's, I wouldn't say logistically you've planned it potentially as well. Like you're obviously stacking it in the back end. You're stacking those runs in the back end of the year. Sorry.
30 runs in December, I would imagine. 30 marathons in a row will probably be what I'll do.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you guys. Yeah. Well, I do know. You won't do them.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So, no, we don't want to do that. We never said we were going to do that.
We didn't publicly state that we would do this. Yeah.
So I guess my question to that is what is the process to go, this is something I want to do, and then genuinely like, I don't know, keeping yourself accountable to like, well, I'm actually following through with doing this.
I would also love to know that.
Yeah, good question. I don't think I know the answer, to be honest. I just made the commitment, and then I committed to starting. I think starting it is the hardest part. But once I'm in it, my mindset is just get it done. Just get it done. You don't have to look good doing it. You don't have to do it quickly. Just get it done. You committed to it. You're the only person really letting yourself down if you don't do it is you. So I left my ego at the door, didn't care about what other people thought, how I looked, what I was doing. I just said, they're doing this for one person only, and that's for you. And that makes it a lot easier, I think, because, well, maybe not, but for me, it made it a lot easier because I put all the noise aside and just said, I'm just going to start it and see how we go. But I think I've been talking in circles here, but I think one of the things that stop people from doing it is that fear of failure.
Yeah.
Like they won't make themselves accountable because they're worried about what other people think if I fail. What I've always said is that the failure is not starting. Like saying like Mick not getting 50 done, but he's probably done more marathons this year than he's ever done before.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
So we look and go, well, he didn't get to 50, but well, he did 10 or 12 or 30 or whatever he ends up with. It's just a remarkable number. And who cares? Just set another goal next year and go again.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's really hard. I just say I'm going to do something and then I just do it.
Also in probably more Mikas's defense, it's probably hard. Like it's actually harder for you to give up when you're on like the other side of the world. It's kind of not just as easy as going like, oh, well, that's enough. It's like if you were to give up, you've got to get everyone home.
Yeah, exactly. And like of 576 days, there would have been 35,000 times where I wanted to give up.
Yeah.
You know, like daily, hourly, on the half hour throughout it. But yeah, like I'd ring, say, mum, for instance, and be like, I'm injured. This sucks. It's minus 15 degrees. It's snowing. The ground's ice. What am I doing this for? I'm coming home. She just goes, you regret it for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And it's that regret piece, I suppose, that is my driving force.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. And then you said that you wanted, before you started this, you're probably right. I don't know if this is the most sequential order we could cover some of these in, but we're just excited to chat to you. So we're jumping around a little bit. But you said that you wanted a break from, I guess, your reality here, which you were a lawyer. Is that correct?
Yeah. Lawyer / triathlon running coach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So part-time both, I guess.
Part-time both.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
Was there anything, I assume the triathlon aspect was fairly handy, but was there anything from being a lawyer that held you in good stead on this journey?
Yeah, definitely. I think the admin side of things, if you will, the logistics of it, just working through a problem, dealing with people, building relationships, all that sort of stuff, that those sort of non-tangibles outside of the physical nature of it. Definitely the ability to have a conversation with someone or be confident in a room. Definitely all that, and that, like the coaching side of things helped as well. That side of things was so far more challenging than I could ever possibly have thought. If I knew how hard this whole thing was, I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah. Okay.
I think I can sum it up. Like it was
And
extraordinary.
you don't mean just physically, you mean logistically.
Yeah, mentally, emotionally. Yeah. I mean, I had some significant life events occur when I was on it.
Yes.
But yeah, it took me to places where I didn't think I could go. And what I'm most proud of is I came out the other side. And my aim was to stay positive as much. So on the social media, I tried to portray that I'm out here having fun, because the last thing I wanted to do was be like, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this. Because people would be like, why are you doing it then? So I fell in love with the grind. I found joy in the grind of every day, which was pretty cool. Like, and it was just a grind for a lot of it. I went days without seeing people, you know, in the middle of nowhere, can't speak the language, don't know where I'm going to get my next meal from. Do we have enough petrol in the car? All these sort of questions. So yeah, I don't know where I'm taking this conversation, but
keep taking it, mate. We're following it. It's good quality.
Yes.
And then did you also have, like, I remember when we spoke to you on the podcast, we talked about the fact that who's going with you? Like, do you have a team? And then when we saw you again in Brisbane, 590 days later,
576
6 days later. Yeah, I knew that. Man. I was rounding up to the nearest
600.
90 to the nearest 90. You know how everyone does that. But you it looked like you had a team, like a genuine team. Did that like evolve throughout time, or is that did a lot of those people come with you? How many people came the whole time?
No one. So I had the link. So I was fully self-funded.
Yeah.
So I'm really lucky to have a couple of mates whose companies jumped on board, but self-funded. So it was a lean operation. So I had myself on the road.
Yep.
And then one or two other people that were mates that took it upon themselves to fly over wherever I needed them.
Yeah.
Give up time away from their family, and then work to take holidays to help me out for 1 week, 2 weeks, a month. And that was it. So I had 39 different people as my on-road crew across the whole journey, which was all just mates.
I did not know that. That's
yeah. So we had one for most of it. I had one driving the car and me.
But that wasn't just the one same person.
No, that was different people.
I had people coming in.
Yeah, I had two mates that started. They did the first 9 weeks to get the thing up and running. And then I had a Damo, and I've got to give a huge shout out to Damo. So I'd never met Damo.
What?
So he was a friend of a friend. And they were like, you got to go and help Timbo out. So he flew over and he did nearly 200 days with me. I'd never met the bloke. And we went through across America and then across South America in a car and an RV in the States and a car in South America with a guy I didn't know. And it was like one of the coolest things ever. Like we were like the best of mates and mortal enemies all at once. So because it's just so being in a van, and I'm not the best version of myself at the time. So I'm snarky, I'm tired, I'm cold, I'm hot, I'm hungry, just all of it. And yeah, so I had he for 200 days. And then from once I got to Europe, it was just mates flying in and flying out. So all across Europe, across Asia, and then across Australia. So yeah, 39 different people across the way came and were my on-road support crew. And then back here, Andrew from Action Sports Management, a mate I went to school with, who just jumped on and helped from that side of things. And then Talia, the social outsource, and she did all my social media. She put that, so we'd just upload the raw footage, and she would, and these guys, my mates, are not videographers. We're not chefs, right? So I'm eating like ham and cheese wraps, and they're getting footage off an iPhone and upload. Yeah, it was the leanest operation you could possibly. But one thing I'm proud of is people looking in go, geez, he looks like he's got a team. Looks like he's got his shit together, because we definitely didn't have our shit together. It was chaos. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And is that person who's on the road with you, are they helping and sort of in charge of like booking hotels and things to stay overnight? Like I assume there's a ton of logistics that I would just have no idea how to work.
Yeah. So we were just taking that. We were just doing that on the way. So I'd start the day, like 7, 8 o'clock, depending on when the sun came up, or how hot or cold it was. We'd start the day. They'd go 10 Ks up the road. I'd run to them. Then 8 Ks up the road. I'd run to them. Then like 7 Ks, 6 Ks, and then 5 Ks until I finished.
Yeah.
And in that time, they would arrange food, and we'd start to look at accommodation. And then because we're on a budget, we'd be like, yeah, let's go there. And then we'd turn up and like they wouldn't be open, or because we're just like relying on Google because we can't speak the language. So we're like knocking on these doors at like 6 o'clock at night. No one's answering, or no, we're full, but you can go down the road. And yeah, it was, yeah, and they did all that. Yeah, they did look after all the food and looked after all the accommodation and made sure there was petrol in the car. And
wow. Okay.
How often did you get stuck sleeping in your car?
Not once.
Not once?
No, not once. No.
Okay.
Not once. It was, pretty amazing, really, when I look back and go, oh, it was just luck. Like sometimes it was just luck. But we had to drive. Some days we were driving like an hour after we finished to find accommodation. And then we'd have to drive back the hour in the morning and all that.
Start back at the same spot.
To start back at the same spot, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And we were missing, I went through like multiple floods, like proper, like I flooded the Nullarbor. For crying out loud. Like everywhere I went, it rained or it snowed or it was 500 degrees. Like I felt like I'd always just got belted with poor weather.
Wow. Okay. And guys like Damo, do you have any idea what motivated him to do that? Like just to give up 200 days of his life to help out some random bloke he'd never met?
Other than he's just a ripping fella. One thing, again, that I'm really proud of is that the support network that I've built around me has come from me building the relationship with these guys, that they're willing to give up. And I like to think if they ask for my help, I'd do the same. I think the motivator is they wanted to be involved in something that's probably once in a lifetime, and two, just support me. Yeah, I think that's it. Just selflessly give their time and money to help me out. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Imagine if Damo, because you know how you'd never met him. Imagine if he was just a stinker. Like you rocked up and you're like, I got 200 days for this one.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I mean, we probably could have overcome that because he left. He actually left and then came back again.
Wow.
So at the time he left, I could have said, that's enough. Thanks, mate.
Yeah.
Cheers. We'll call you.
You would surely have to be going pretty bad to be the only person you've got contact with and go, mate, don't call us. We'll call you.
Yeah. Not everything's going great but no, he was awesome. Yeah. He was, and he was the right type of person. And it was funny. There were so many varying personalities that I had that are my mates, like the cool, calm ones, and then the wild ones, and it was a really good mix. So I never had like wild. I'd have wild, calm, okay, wild, and it just kept, because I enjoyed the wild sometimes, but other times I was in a foul mood, and just that calm, let's just do this, like monotone was really good. Like so that worked really well, and everyone got it. Everyone that came on, no one bit back at me. Like everyone just accepted that I was an asshole, and that I would just be like, I need this now. Where's this? Why haven't we organised this? No, we're not staying there. Not like, and they just went, and they just took it, which is I'm forever grateful for.
And I guess other logistical questions. Did you run with music, or what were you listening to stuff as you went? Because I was just wondering, like, how long does a playlist have to be to keep throwing you fresh songs throughout that sort of a challenge?
Yeah, I think I ran Apple Music dry. I think I listened to every single song on their list. I listened to, so in the morning I listened to podcasts. When I felt good, I'd listen to podcasts, feel like I'm in the conversation. And then when I started to struggle, I'd put on music.
Nice.
And like just that, the teeny bopper, the high energy stuff. Mainly, just like real basic sort of tunes.
What's teeny bopper?
It's like your Swifties and your Katy Perry's.
Yeah, that'd get me through too.
Your Paloma Faith, I can't get enough of it. I don't know why. I don't know what it does, and I'll get mocked for it. But yeah, and then 80s, anything. And there's this, and I assume all the streaming services have it, but Apple has like Tim Station.
Oh yeah.
So you just hit play on that, and it's AI of what you listen to, and stuff like that. So I had that in my ears.
It's good that you knew that, because Skin actually had to educate Mikus about what Spotify Shuffle was.
Yeah, I didn't know shuffling was a thing.
He just used to skip songs until he found one that he liked in alphabetical order.
Literally, like,
well, that's why you should get on Apple. Shout out to the good people at Apple.
They are great people.
They invented shuffling like 20 years ago. Michael found out about it.
So what did you just hit next?
No, you just wait for the song. Oh yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what I did.
Yeah, you were hitting next. I was in your car, and you had a song you wanted to get to, and you sat there like,
yeah, that's right. Because it'd be on a playlist, and I would always start at the first song.
Oh, and just let it go down.
On that playlist of 100 songs, I'd listen to the same 5 songs every time I went anywhere.
Oh,
so I'd have to skip through to find the one I wanted. So anyway,
there you go. Yeah. I just had Tim's Station, and it seemed and then 80s. And then 90s, and then the noughties.
Yeah, nice. That's perfect. That's good. Excellent. Well, Tim, we are going to jump into, we're going to speak a lot more about the specifics of your run and what places you liked and things like that right after the break. But before that, I did want to sort of throw these at you. You know how you were in a really bad mood for a lot of time on the run, and people, didn't enjoy probably hanging out with you as much, but they copped it. Is there, do you think, any chance that Here they are. Let me get them there. So if your team, who we now know was just one person most of the time, if he had have you had have been mid-run, maybe 4 o'clock in the afternoon or after a grueling day, and they had have come to you with a couple of these jokes, how do you think it would have enhanced the mood?
Enhanced.
How do you think it would have gone down? Maybe just with a quick rating out of 5. Are you ready? So this one would be specifically about you. So put me in Damo's shoes for a second. All right. So this one I wrote specifically about you. Why did Tim end up in jail during his run? Resisting arrest.
Yeah, no, I was resting all the time.
Okay, so you weren't in jail. All right. So that one probably it's not going great for you. What do you say to a marathon runner who's just run a PB?
Don't know.
Looks like you had a good time.
That would have gone down well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
This is hard work.
I actually forgot the next one. Can you guys jog my memory?
Good. I say good, but
Probably not that good. This one is actually a true story. So me, Skin and Mikus, every day when we do our 7-kilometer jog, we tell each other the same thing and it always makes us laugh. It's a running joke.
Do they get better?
No, not really.
we also don't run 7 kilometers every day.
Nah, most days. 2 out of 7.
We do a lot of walking.
Last one. Is it really that wrong to hate an entire race? Bit controversial, this one. I just find marathons way too long to enjoy any part of them.
Nice.
Yeah.
Anyone happy with that? That's pretty strong.
Yeah. Good.
What's your pick? What's the pick of the bunch? What would have got you to the next stop in a good mood?
Do you remember any of them?
Yeah, none of them. None of them were moving the needle, were they? I would have run faster to not hear them, I suppose.
Tim, I'm terribly sorry too. I forgot to play the jingle that you requested, your one stipulation of coming on the
None of
podcast.
that is true.
One stipulation of coming back on the podcast. Like, I'm happy to do it if you play the jingle. So here it is. Tim. 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 Oh, I didn't know that part was, but that makes sense. I like it. Yeah.
No, thanks for playing that.
No, that's all right. It gets the mood. See, what it does is it gets the mood right up and it sets the tone. Just in case anyone during that ad break, they forgot that, hey, Tim ran the world. It's a great reminder.
Yep. Thanks. Yeah.
Good flow.
Starting with a bang.
Oh, yeah. Well done.
Tim, let's see if we could, in terms of your actual, we were sort of trying to hold back a few of the specifics, but in terms of your actual run, so once logistically you've organised everything, you've started, we've jumped around a little bit, but let's put ourselves in day 1 of the 576 days. Where do you leave from?
So I left from South Bank Parklands.
Right.
So, that's another one of the rules. I have to start and finish at the exact same place.
Right.
So,
But is that 1 kilometre? You said 1 kilometre from the beach or something?
no, when I have to touch 1 kilometre from the beach during the run.
Okay. Yep.
So that day I actually ran out past the airport through to Pinkenbar, through the international ferry terminal.
Yeah.
So I got that sort of done on that day because that was considered. And then I ended up at the airport, and then the Sunday I flew to New Zealand and I ran the length of New Zealand starting day 2.
Yes. Okay.
Into Queenstown. Yeah.
And so that can all be on one day because, I was thinking about some of the flying as well. Like some of those flights would have been long haul, wouldn't they?
Long haul, yeah. Yep. Yeah. So I flew, through New Zealand. That was easy enough. That was just 3 hours. But then Auckland, I flew Auckland to San Fran via Hawaii. My flight got cancelled. So I had to fly into San Jose and then get an Uber to San Fran. Just stuff like that. And then there was a long haul. We flew New York down to Santiago. Then we flew Argentina to London to Portugal, Romania to Malaysia, Singapore to Perth.
Right. Okay.
For the flights.
And are you looking forward to long haul flights as a bit of a rest for the legs, or if you've just run hundreds of kilometres, is that a pretty painful spot to?
You need an exit row, surely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was. Yeah, I was looking forward to flying because it meant I didn't have to run that day. So I gave myself the day I ran, and then the day I flew, and then the day after I flew, I gave myself the day off just to get stuff organised, hitting a new continent, getting hire cars, waiting for my crew to fly in because they weren't with me. They were flying in from somewhere else. Mm-hmm. So I gave myself those rest day, like that as a rest day, which wasn't really a rest day. And like even traveling's not really a rest because you're up at airports and trying to get through and talk to people and arrange taxis and all that sort of stuff. So, but flying was fine. Yeah, it's fine. I never had crossing any country. I never had that I can remember an issue with my visa. There was one time I was crossing out of like EU into Serbia, and I'd overstayed my visa in the EU by like 15 days or something because I got injured in Germany and couldn't do the Ks that I was hoping to do. Mm-hmm. So I was really nervous going up to the border. So it was a Hungarian, and they were sitting in the same room, the Hungarian customs immigration guy and the Serbian guy. And the Hungarian guy goes, Forrest Gump. And they just handed the passport to the Serbian guy who stamped it. And then away I went. I was like I was through. I was worrying about it for like 2 or 3 weeks. And I was through in like 60 seconds. And they called me Forrest Gump. And then I was like, okay.
That's so good.
Yeah. Tim, you know how like you were trying to break the record for the fastest time that's someone has run around the world. And is all the like flying time and stuff, is that included?
Yeah. So from when you take your first step to when you take your last step, anything that happens in it counts.
Gee, so you need some of these airlines to like have their shit together to really help you out as well. I mean,
yeah. Oh, yeah. But but that wasn't. I don't think. Yeah, that's the reason. I delayed flight.
Yeah, I think, and we should say you didn't break that.
I did. Yeah, I unfortunately didn't get it, but I think it was a blessing in the end because at the start I was feeling really good. You know, I was doing 65 Ks a day for probably the first 150 days. I was ahead of where I needed to be. And things were like, body was feeling okay. I was starting to get a few niggles, but I was feeling okay. And then obviously I got the call from back home, which put a cat amongst the pigeons. And that changed everything really. And that was, so the phone call was that my father had, my mum and dad called me, and dad had a terminal illness and only had a couple of months to live. Yeah. And then a couple of months later it was, he's dying. You got to come. If you want to come home to say goodbye, come now. And that was a relative, well, it was easy in hindsight, but a pretty difficult decision at the time. I was doing something, we'd spoken about it before I left. If something was to go wrong, like medically with anyone, what would I do? It was all there, but the reality was so much harder. Like we were like, yeah, don't worry about it, man. People, pass away all the time, which is a ridiculously flippant thing to say when it's your old man who's done everything for you. Yeah. So I made the decision to go home. Best thing I've ever done. Wheels down in Brisbane. Exactly where I needed to be. The whole family under one roof for the first time in years and years and years. Said goodbye to him. Thanked him for everything he's done for me. He goes, you get back out there and finish that damned run. Were literally his last words to me. I got back on a plane on the Thursday afternoon, and he passed away on the Friday morning. And I got the news when I landed back in America, and I don't know how I felt, to be honest, but that meant I was away for about 10 to 12 days, and the record, instead of having to do 60 Ks a day, meant I had to do like nearly 70 Ks a day. Just blew it out by that much, and I was like, and then it took me a while to get back into running because I just stopped for 12 days and like 50 hours on a plane within a week, other side of the world. Just got hard. Emotionally, I wasn't probably all there. Yeah. So we said, all right, let's build back into it, and then let's see where we are at the end of the States. And then we'll reassess whether we give it a crack. And then we got to the end of the States and it was probably too far gone. So we said, well, let's just pull back a bit and enjoy the journey, different perspective. You want to get people moving, you want to raise awareness for your charities, and you want to honor your old boy.
Yeah.
So let's just do that. And that's what it became. And I mean, arguably, and it's an excuse, it's a cop out, but I mean, coming home last weekend and seeing the people there was pretty phenomenal. So it sort of made it all worth it.
Yeah. That's it. It's pretty cool to see how it kind of evolved and changed. Like it probably touches on what we were talking about with Mikas like earlier, and the fact that you set out to achieve something rather than going, okay, well, I'm not going to break that record, toys out of the cot and spit the dummy. You turn it into still like a really arguably an even more positive thing and force and still an achievement that obviously you should be so proud of. So I think that's pretty cool how you sort of did that.
Yeah, I think when I look back at it, the world record was never the driver. The adventure was always the driver. But the world record potentially would put more eyeballs on it, get more brands looking at it, I suppose. But the driver was just go and run around the world as quickly as you can and see everything and take it all in and meet people and do cool stuff.
For sure. Okay. Well, it seems like you did end up doing a lot of cool stuff. Was that that decision, or was that the end of the States to not chase the record? Was that the second continent you'd been on?
That was the first continent I'd run. So I'd ran New Zealand, obviously not a continent, but the K's counted.
Okay.
But then the States. So the States, I think I finished in 165 days or something. I ran just over 9,000 Ks
right
in the States. So I had done about 10,500 Ks to the States, or to the end of the States. So it was still there, but I don't really know when we just went, oh, we'll just keep running. But we said if we just keep doing 50 to 60s, we'll see where we land when we get closer. So we were still doing that, but it was probably Europe where it completely became, because my right leg literally stopped working. Like I couldn't feel it. I couldn't put weight on it. So I was doing 20 to 30 Ks for a few days, and then you're losing that many kilometers. So that's when I probably nailed in the coffin of the record.
Yep. Okay. But you've still ended up as the second fastest to ever do it, right?
Yes. Yeah. I'm the second fastest by about 60 days, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so were you chasing that from then on, or you just had plenty of time to work with?
I knew I had so much time to work with. I wasn't really chasing anything then. I was just like, let's just keep going, and like let's average 50. It'd be pretty cool to say I ran around the world averaging 50 kilometers a day, including like all the rest days and stuff, and flying home to see Dad. My average was like 49.2 or something.
Yeah,
I think per day for 576 days. It's
a pretty good effort.
Tim, how did you talk about wanting to a big driver being the adventure and wanting to go out and see the world, and you do definitely see it, but you're also running. So, did you find ways to enjoy it? Like with the times where it's like,
you don't exactly get to stop and see the culture.
Very rarely. Yeah. Very rarely. Like when people open their homes for us to come and stay in, that was really cool.
Wait,
like,
is it random people?
Just
again?
random people, yeah. Random people that either knew they were following me on social media or had seen me, or someone had messaged them to say, hey, I just saw a guy running. You're a runner. And yeah, so the random people globally who would invite me into their homes and we'd stay the night. They'd feed us, look after us. Yeah, that was cool. But a lot of the time, I was in the middle of nowhere, right? Like not in tourist places. Yeah. But we made a pact that we would immerse ourselves as much as possible. So like try and speak the language, say hello to everyone, eat the local food, drink the local drink, and just immerse ourselves as much as possible, which I think added. And that's a lesson I've learned. I'm just so comfortable now. There's that comment like get comfortable being uncomfortable, but I'm just comfortable in any situation. Like I was walking into rooms of, like in Spain, for instance, I went to this big coffee shop and it was packed and there was noise and everyone was like talking and it was going bonkers. I walk in, like saloon type doors, walk in, high vis, running singlet, I'm the weirdo, the whole place just stopped. Everyone just turned and looked at me and I'm like, hola. And the whole place just erupted. Like it was, and stuff like that. Like instead of being like, I just embraced any situation I was in. That happened in like heaps of different places. Yeah. It was not to that extent, but sick. So that was my immersion. That was my cultural experience, was just immersing myself as much as I could with the little bit that I had.
Yeah. Okay. And so Spain's right up there, I assume. And then obviously you would have had some very tough days, but what were some other like really like beautiful places to run through? Where did you really enjoy what countries did you enjoy traveling through?
Couple of favorite places to run. Probably number one was Patagonia, so southern South America. So I ran over the Andes, so from Chile into Argentina in the South America was phenomenal. It was about 1,800 meters above sea level. It was like one day was 47 k's up until I got to the border crossing, which was closed, so I had to stay there. And then the next day was 47 k's down to down into Argentina, and it was amazing. Like it was like snow, 7 foot high, phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. It was, as good as I get. And then I ran the Thames River.
Okay.
So from source to end, like in Britain, in England, and that was unreal. That was unreal as well because it was really good weather. So all these pubs lined up, dotted, and like everyone's out, and I'm running along, and people have phoned ahead telling them I'm coming, so they were all cheering me. And it's just a part of England that I've never seen before, and like I think I'm one of the only Aussies to ever run it as well, which is pretty cool. And then another favourite was Eastern Europe because it's so different to life in Brisbane, Australia. Like I was racing horse and carts, like legitimately. Like,
what?
Did they know you were racing them?
One guy did because he got the whip out. I'm like, oh, sorry, horse. Just belting along a highway, and that's a legitimate mode of transport in like regional Romania. So like all that stuff, and like seeing how the world is evolving and how those places like stuck between somewhere like communism and the EU and how the dichotomy of it all was, it was awesome. That was the fun stuff. Places that were different to Oz were the best places.
Tim, can you give me a quick breakdown of what dichotomy meant?
I understand dichotomy to mean the difference, two different opposing cultures, like the young ones who've grown up with pop culture compared to the older people that grew up in like communist Yugoslavia and how they're so different and pushing. Yeah. And it was cool to see that like as an outsider looking in.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
What about in terms of like, you know how here, but running, I would say running's like running and golf gained a lot of popularity recently. I would say two activities that are, big. So a lot more people, it feels like, are running, including us. We're quite new to it. We're still not very good at it, but we give it a crack every now and then. Not the training part, but the running part we go quite well. But the people that do take the training part quite seriously, and you being a coach in the past, nutrition, quite a big thing. And they're big with their carb loading, pre-running, stuff like that. When you're in different countries and different cuisines and stuff, are you still looking for carbs, or are you just going, I'm just eating anything?
I'm just eating anything. Yeah. I'm eating anything. So a really weird thing that happened was I got like food fatigue because all I was doing was running, eating, sleeping and shitting. Basically like every day. There was times where like I was eating like ham and cheese wraps, could not look at one now, like dry reach if I like look at one, like really? It makes me physically sick. I can't eat any more peanut butter. Struggle with Nutella.
You've got reverse craving.
Struggle with Nutella.
Yes. I know. That was devastating.
We have nothing else in our kitchen here. We've literally only got peanut butter.
And something like 2,500 bananas I consume. So I can't even like look at another banana. But the global food is the chicken schnitzel. Everywhere. Yeah, or the palmy. Yeah, everywhere.
That's
everywhere.
It.
They've got it everywhere. There's not a country, I don't think there's a country I went where I couldn't get one.
And have you got fatigue from that?
Never. So that was a lot of dinners. The
chips go all right for your running? Like, do you have to, surely if you're running that much, you just eat what you want.
Eat what I want. Yeah. Eat what I want. I mean, it would have been good to eat like more whole foods and fresher foods, but it's just impossible. We're in the back of like a little hatchback. Like we don't have a fridge, we're in an RV where we've just got to rely on like non-perishable items because we don't know when the next, food source is coming from. So but I would have loved to have eaten better food, but I was just consuming what I could consume. So like hot chips, cold chips, muesli bars. Yeah.
Did you try the local energy gels?
I didn't try. So I didn't eat one gel the whole run.
No gel.
No, because I didn't want to just have. I was worried about what my teeth were going to look like.
Well, they're no good for
this.
Wish someone told me that.
Well, just all sugar.
That makes sense.
So I didn't want to just
when
be
you put it like that. Yeah.
piling them in. So yeah, I was trying to eat just like whole, like again, still processed, but less processed. So that, yeah.
Yeah, right. Interesting. And then Tim, what like you've already touched on things like your leg and stuff. What are some things that went wrong along the way? What do you mean when you say your leg just stopped working?
Yeah, so my hip, I just got like nerve pain in my right hip, and I just couldn't. It was extraordinarily painful at my hip, but I couldn't feel my foot like hitting the ground.
Okay.
Like I couldn't. Yeah, it was like I had just no feeling in it. But at the hip, I couldn't. Like it's all I could feel.
Right.
So that was probably about 25, 30 days. I ended up in hospital just trying to get an answer to what was wrong. But one thing I did learn is the body just heals itself. You just keep moving and the body will fix, save for it being like a break.
Yep.
Like so as long as it's not structural, I think it will heal itself when you're putting load through it all the time. I would never say that to someone though. I would say rest and recover. You probably recover quickly, but the body did adapt and did heal. Along the way, I also got like tendonitis in both shins where like my legs were twice the size and the elastic of a sock was like bringing me to tears because it was so painful. Like I was just like, what? Like, and that felt like shin splints. And that's what a lot of people new to running get when they do a lot of volume and they'll just go, we got shin splints. And it's actually that tendonitis, which will heal because it's not structural. But it was Damo, who a bloke I'd never met before, giving me these massages on my shins, just like, I just wanted to punch his face in. But I knew it was good for me. But yeah, just trying to, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So they were the two significant injuries. But apart from that, the body held up pretty well.
And it's like, I assume you can't, because if you rock into like a physio or something and go like, hey mate, yeah, I've just got these weird injuries. They're like, oh, okay, cool. Just anything like that you want to be back for. Like any goals, I just need to run 70 Ks every day. They're probably not going to be like, okay, yeah, that's why you're sore. Like, it's like not that much that they can sort of do.
I think I went to one physio and I got 6 massages the whole time I was away just because it's logistically impossible because I don't know where I'm going to be. I don't know what time we'll be there. You can't just ring them to book you in because they don't know. You can't speak the language.
Yeah.
So we don't have a phone number. They're not open. They work weird hours. Yeah, it was all that. It was just like, so we just went without. It was just easier just to finish running and just lie down.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I imagine that would be like an issue. The old language thing. If you go in like with trouble with your shins and then you come out with a neck massage.
Can point though.
Yeah. No, there's no other solution.
Languages.
Right. And so whereabouts were those 2 injuries along the journey? Like were they fairly early and did you recover reasonably well? Because I couldn't believe how good you looked when you rocked up in Brisbane on the last day. I thought you were going all right.
Pretty handsome.
Yeah. Probably the best I was in a long time. But I think the adrenaline kicked in. My legs, the tendonitis was about day 80, day 100 in the States.
Yeah.
That was then, and then Germany. So that was a year in, basically. Yeah, about literally day 360, 370. Okay. But yeah, apart from those 2 things, just niggles, right? Niggles from moving your body that much, that often, and like things would come and go. You'd be like, oh, that hurts a bit, and then in 5Ks it's gone. But yeah, they were the only two that really triggered anything.
Where were you for Christmas in those 2 years?
So Christmas Day 2022 was in Taupo, New Zealand. And where was I?
Any big celebrations?
Oh, proper party.
You were running Christmas Day?
Yeah. Yep.
Tough to give you a gift.
I didn't. I had, I think, 26 days off the whole time, or 27 days off the whole time. And that was obviously including the flights and then coming home for Dad. I didn't have a day off for the last nearly a year.
Wow. Shit.
And I can't remember where I was Christmas. I know if we're in Hungary. No, in Hungary. Yeah, in Hungary for Christmas and New Year's. Yeah, last year. Yeah.
So you literally just like pretend those days don't.
Well, the days meant nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Days or dates. The only dates that meant anything is I had something booked in to be there. But days and dates meant absolutely nothing. They just came and went. It was just day 1 through to day 576. That's how, So if you'd asked me what day it is, I would have been like, I've got no idea, mate.
Yeah.
One that ends in Y.
You're not doing like your weekend sport and stuff.
Nothing. It was a really cool way to live, right? Like time is just a construct, time meant nothing to me. I just started running when it was light and finished running before it got dark.
Yeah. You keep your Garmin charged?
Yeah. So again, thanks to good people at Apple, I used the Apple Ultra watch and it was unreal. Like it was awesome. Yeah. But it lasted the entire run. I think I had to charge it maybe 2 or 3 times during the day.
What?
Wait,
yeah.
what?
Oh, as in, no, like I charge it every night. So.
I was like, they are amazing people.
I've heard of battery life, but that seems extreme.
No, so I charged it every night, but like it didn't die on me during the day.
Okay.
And I was using it for everything. I was using it for everything. But no, I had full life on products and stuff. Yeah. So I had no trouble like keeping all the data, which was lucky because it's an honesty system as well, right? And I think we were talking about this off air earlier. Like there's no what's the point if I like cheated? It makes no sense. Like people are like, you either did it or you didn't do it. And it's not. I didn't do it to become a millionaire, right, or a celebrity. I did it because it was a personal challenge. And I run tri squads, and I want people to see me and go, if Tim can do this, let's get out and get moving. Let's set goals that are ridiculously outrageous, and let's achieve it, and let's do cool shit in our lifetime.
Yeah, it would be odd to cheat and not break the record as well.
Exactly. And look the way I looked.
Yeah, there were some times where we were looking at videos like late going, holy heck, that looks painful.
There was even some early on that not super early, but maybe 100 days in where we were like, there's no way this guy can do this. Like this is insane. He doesn't look well and he's still got 400 days to go. So it is phenomenal.
Yeah.
It truly is.
Yeah, I think, and then put it into context because a lot of, like you say 26,245 Ks is what I did, loses a lot. Like it's hard. It's not relative. People can't relate to it. So you guys did the marathon
42.
on the weekend. So 42. So I did 622 marathons in 576 days. So I didn't do it at the intensity you guys did it though. So
that's a fair few medallions.
And so this is another thing. I've finished nothing. No, where's my trophy?
Yeah.
Where's my medal? Nothing. So one of my mate's kids said to my mate, it's like, Mum, does Tim doesn't even get a medal. So they bought me a little trophy. So I could have a little trophy, which is nice.
Right. That's why they need to get those jackets going. you got to give out something.
Yeah, that has to be. What about Tim, like when you got back? So you've left from Australia, South Bank, and a lot, I assume a lot of traveling around the world there were times where you were quite isolated despite some of the amazing people that you met. When you get back to Perth, did you notice like a switch, I guess, in terms of like by the time that we see you in the last leg, the very last day where you're coming back to South Bank, and I don't know, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but we were certainly blown away by how many people were there for, we ran from, what was it, New Farm Park to South Bank. The amount of people that rocked up were like, holy heck, but this is a proper groundswell. It was quite impressive. Did that feel like it started to get steam when you got back to Australia, or what was kind of was that a late thing even again? Because it takes a lot of time to run from Perth to Brisbane even. Yeah, so I, on the road for 576 days, and of those days, I reckon I had people for maybe 100 of them, maybe. I reckon even less. I think maybe I had people running with me for 1,000 Ks. So I was isolated a lot of the time. I got really comfortable being by myself. And I can still remember I went to a pub in Narooma in New South Wales and it was busy and I just had to leave. I was like, I can't. And I'm not a person that suffers from like social anxiety or anything, but I was like, this is overwhelming. I got to go outside. They had no rumour for you.
Where are we?
There's not much wrong with that. It's got to be said. I heard it on the rumour mill. Megas, how you doing?
Yeah, righto. Anyway, back to you. He's saying something like, yeah, right. And then you just say that.
No, that was good. That was actually not bad. That was
He's
not
missed
bad.
people. That's what he was saying. And so that's why he wanted me to make that joke
Yeah, that
for
was
him.
good. That was good. I'm all for dad jokes. I love them.
Exactly.
Just good ones.
Wrong podcast.
And then, I definitely when I hit Perth, there was a little bit of media, and that I could feel it. But then it just dropped off again because I was in the middle of nowhere for however long. Because I followed like the entire coastline of southern Australia, so I didn't just go shoot straight across. I went all the way like down southern WA and then to the Eyre Peninsula and then across Adelaide and then into Melbourne. But probably from Melbourne onwards, definitely I could feel there was something building. But as you said, and you used the exact words that I would have used, it blew my mind. Like it was overwhelming, humbling. Like to have that. Someone said, "Did you hire your own park run?" like that's what it felt like for those people. Like there were 400, I think roughly 400 people at New Farm. 400 people ran the last 10 kilometers with me. Like 10 kilometers is a considerably long way to run, and there's 400 people in Brisbane and people that I met along the way. A bloke flew in from WA that I met, and he ran with me a day in WA, and he flew over to be there at the end to run with me at the end. Like that is it's mind-blowing, humbling. And then obviously that whole day is just will be my greatest day in my life. Like, and then that last couple of 100 meters in South Bank, like those people there for me, like and a lot of the times I'm like, what am I doing this for? What am I doing this for? Is it really worth it? But then you get a message like, mate, you've inspired me. I'm doing my first ever 5K, or I'm battling with life, but I see what you're doing and it makes me get over what I'm doing and stuff like that. But then, that final day with all those people was, if I could bottle that and sell it, I'd be the richest person on the planet.
Yeah. Because I even remember I saw you a few days before you got to Brisbane, and I remember we were talking and you said, you were like, how many people do you reckon will be there? Like you said that to me and I was like, and I didn't want to say more, I don't want to say too many. And then you were like, do you reckon like...
Mika said, I'll be there.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to be like, mate, like 10,000. Like I didn't know, like I had no idea what to say. And you were like, do you reckon like, a couple hundred? And I was like, yeah. And then you got more than that just running. And then when we got to the line, it was like 40 minutes before you got there. And there was already 10 times that. We were like, oh my God, this is so much bigger than I thought. Like it must have been, like you just said, it was ridiculous. It was insane.
Yeah, I think, it was. I know, and there's so many strange, like social media gets a lot of grief, right? But there's so many strangers that only know me and came along for the journey with me. And that was one thing I really wanted to do on my social media, was make sure that it wasn't all just the good stuff that people saw, but it was when I was hurting, when I was struggling, be really real. And they came along the journey with me and they supported me the whole way. So for them to all be there at the end was just really special. Like it was just, it was 10 times as many people as I thought. I was expecting like my family and like 50 mates. And then like there was,
that's phenomenal.
Yeah, I can't put it into words.
Strong community, I reckon, that you kind of built. Like we spoke to some of those people along the way as well, and they were genuinely going like, I know we spoke to one person and said like, when did you hear about Tim? And he was like, no, only like a week ago, but I just wanted to jump on. Like it became such like a strong community to get involved in, and it got so many. I think bringing so many people together to do that, it's like something so amazing that you've achieved, but then to see how those people sort of banded together and stuff, I don't know, it was just really warming to watch, I thought.
Yeah, and that's exactly how it felt for me. And like, I've always been about building a community, like whether it be wherever. Like that's why I love like sporting clubs, like footy clubs or cricket clubs or my tri club, is that people come together. They've got nothing in common except for their like or enjoyment of the sport. And that's what binds them together, and lifelong friendships, and you become mates forever, and you overcome challenges together, and that community feel that you're only as good as the bloke next to you. They'll lift you up and you want to lift them up. And that's what I saw last weekend, was that like people were there to make me better. And I was hoping that I can make them a little bit better as well. That was the whole premise of anything I sort of do, as cliche as that may sound, but that's literally at the heart of it. Yeah. So it was awesome. Can we do it again?
Absolutely. We're pretty due for a run. I've got to ask as well, Tim, I know you mentioned that, you know, you're probably at this phase of your life now that you've achieved something that took you so long that you're a little bit lost. And it's awesome that you've been so vulnerable about that. But was there the first day that you woke up after that day we saw you, where you finished in South Bank, the first day where you woke up and went, I don't have to run? Was that a nice feeling?
It was a nice feeling. Yeah, it was a nice feeling. I just got up, but I also was like, I got cabin fever like in like half an hour. I was like, so I just went for a walk, but it was good not to have to put shoes on.
Yeah.
That was the thing that I was dreading each morning, because it was the further, like putting shoes on was the furthest away from having a warm shower at night. Because I had to start and run the whole day. So not put shoes on was awesome.
Right. Okay. And then it was only a couple of days before you were posting like you're back down at the gym working out and stuff like that. Do you not want to give yourself a bit of a rest?
Yeah, well, I'll call it an active recovery. I just want to keep moving. So I'm deloading.
Okay.
So if I completely stop, the body will just seize right up and it will hate it. So I'm just running less and less and less, or doing other movements that my body hasn't done, just to try and keep the muscles free and the heart to understand, no, you still need to work. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to, usually when people finish things like that, they might get sick. So I haven't been sick yet, which is pretty cool. I've been around a lot of people, still haven't picked up whatever's been going around. So I'm just keeping my body alert, I suppose, and I'll deload and then build up. And I hear that we're on it. So mano v mano at Sydney Marathon.
Sydney Marathon, we're running with you. So we've just got to
We're not really running with you. I think
we are. We've got to, if Tim can run the world, we can knock 1 hour 47 minutes off of our
Hang on, I don't
time.
know what I'm going to do.
That's not true. I'll be happy to just get through it again.
Yeah. Well, if we beat you, you probably didn't finish. So
yeah, right. Deal.
We're not very good.
we
No, you guys nailed it last weekend. I was there watching.
Well, that was a half an hour PB.
Yeah. We nailed our goal.
Yeah.
Our goal is just very low, but that's fine.
Well, less than 1% of the population have ever completed a marathon. So
exactly.
You're doing okay.
Is that really true?
Something
it
like
felt
that.
like there was so many people there.
How good was that, right? How good, and that's another thing that this running phenom that's happening started, I don't want to say coincidentally, after I started my run around the world.
I think you started.
It was a tsunami of Tim. I think the Tim Franklin effect. I think we can all agree.
That's what it looks like.
And it was so good to see so many people running on the Saturday and the Sunday across. Especially on the Saturday, where there was so many different ages, body shapes, type. It was. And I just sat back, because it was the first time I wasn't running to nail myself to the wall, just to sit back and watch and just go, this is actually pretty incredible. I ran a little bit with a 75-year-old lady before she torched me and took off. And then I was running with a bloke that could have been the Ford pack for the Wallabies who was running with me, and I just sat in behind him, blocking myself from the wind. But all within one race, and that's why running, I think, is pretty special, because anyone can pretty well do it.
No, it's unreal. And that's something else that I'm struggling to wrap my head around and find incredible. So less than 1% of the world's population has run a marathon, and there were 40,000 people at the Gold Coast on the weekend?
31,000 across the weekend, I think.
Right. Okay. So it feels like there's a lot of people. That just means so there's 8 billion people on the planet, something like that. 100 billion people have ever lived, and you're one of 8 blokes to have done this thing. That is mind-boggling.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is a cool stat. One of 8 and the second fastest.
That is crazy. The second fastest of everyone who's ever lived.
It's pretty. Yeah, I don't know if we've done a good enough job of saying how good you are.
Yeah.
We can start now.
It's not too late if you're still listening. It's very good. Well, and just on your point, we know from our marathon on Sunday, Dave the Brit, the nose jack shit, we lost him. He was deceased. Not deceased, obviously, but he was still with us. But he basically said to us, I'm gone, boys. I'm not getting through this. That's what he said. And then we looked at the video, because we had someone just video the entire thing, all 4 hours and 45 minutes. And it was the moment that he ran past you or walked past you that he went, that's Tim. He's here cheering me on. I'm going. And then all of a sudden he was right back next to us. True story. Not that true, but somewhat true.
Flexible. It's there or thereabouts.
A little bit of mayonnaise.
He did see Tim in that 5 hours.
At some point in the 5 hours he saw you. We're not sure when it was.
Yeah. No, and that, I know. Yeah. I mean, again, we were talking, I don't know if we were talking about it on air or off air, but yeah, I made a point of being there and cheering people on, achieving extraordinary things like running a marathon. Running any distance is extraordinary achievement, and doing it and having the gumption to toe the start line. You talk about me starting this and getting this done. Well, it's no different to someone going, well, I'm going to toe the start line of a marathon. You leave yourself open for vulnerability and failure right there. But also when you hit the finish line, is there a better feeling?
No, definitely not. It's very, very cool, actually. I mean, yeah, I still can't walk properly, which hurts, but like the feeling internally is very nice.
But that pain goes and all you remember is the finish line.
That's why we did it.
That's why we did it. That's why you do it again. And that's why you entered Sydney. And that's why you do it again. That endorphin outweighs any pain.
Yeah, it does seem like that.
Yeah, I suppose so.
I really wasn't aware of that. That's why I keep signing up to these stupid things.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, Tim, I was wondering if you would be happy. It wouldn't be a We Got the Chocolates podcast episode without finishing with a game. So I was hoping that you would be kind enough to play Human Shazam with us. Now, I have a jingle.
What is this
Tim.
jingle?
I'm terrible at music.
Pump up Shazam, pump it up. Yeah, you'll need some prompting.
Yeah.
While your ears are thumping.
Yeah.
You can do some crumping.
Is the harmony good?
Oh, my days.
There you go. So tell your friends about that jingle. That was nice.
That was a good one.
That is probably the best. So I'm
probably one
glad
of the
that you had that one.
Now, luckily, you don't actually have to be good at singing here, Tim. You just have to be good at identifying songs for Human Shazam. You basically play the role of Shazam. Migas and Skin are also playing. It is a buzz-in kind of honest. Well, it's not really an honesty system. It's a buzz-in system, and then I tell you who buzzed in first.
We'll be terrible at this.
Well, luckily for you,
makes you
Tim, you
feel any
should
better.
be good at them because they're all running themed songs. I'll give you that clue.
And your competition is not very good either. So
No.
you should be fine.
Migas,
Speak more highly of yourself, Skin.
what's your jingle, Migas?
What? Sorry?
Buzzer.
Buzzer. What's your what? What did I say?
Jingle.
Jingle.
Oh, all the jingles are yours.
It's usually barley. So
Barley
we'll
is
go
your
with that.
buzzer. Yep.
I'll
Skin.
stick with Albert.
And Tim, you can be
Forest.
nice.
Good.
Very nice. Okay. All running themed. Here we go. So, by the way, Tim, these songs, because the people at copyright centers are hard to please, they're made from like bit MIDI files. So they sound terrible and sometimes nothing like the song, which
Yes,
makes the game another level of
Wow,
complexity. Okay. Here you go. Song one.
I don't know it.
You'll get it.
Barley. That's Let's Get It Started by the Black Eyed Peas.
Well done, Mikas. That's
Yeah.
unreal. Good
Because I
stuff.
thought it straight away, but I was like, it's got nothing to do with running. And then I realized
Yeah.
it literally only says running.
And the big kids running, and
I
running.
could have been,
That one wasn't on your playlist, Tim.
I probably was,
I was never getting that.
but I would never get any of these.
All right.
Oh, all right, here we go.
Any?
I don't think so.
Really? Okay. Well, this one's a bit more.
There's going to be no lyrics at any stage.
No.
Zero lyrics.
That's
Yeah,
as good
right,
as you're
that's-
getting.
Yeah, that's
Wow,
what you get. Yeah.
yeah,
So,
good.
mate,
Yep.
you got to be. This is a challenge. Though.
This is.
You can overcome challenges.
I'd rather
Trust
run
me.
around
I've
the
seen it. All right. Here you go. Song two.
Forest.
I will take even name of song. It doesn't necessarily have to be name an artist. I'll take anything. Oh,
Was it? Now I'm worried that I've got it. Was it Run to You, Bryan Adams?
I
It wasn't.
don't think it's
Albert.
Run.
Run to Paradise.
It is Run to Paradise. You are right. Anyone with the, I didn't know the band, but you can have a crack if you want. Skin, I'm happy to give you 1 point. Because I think you got
Haven't
2
got the
points, sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
Previously. Skin, you've got 1. It's by the
Choir Boys.
What?
Yeah.
But it's by the Choir Boys.
Yeah, I knew
Tim,
that.
that is
Yeah,
unbelievable.
I knew who.
There you go.
I had no idea of that.
Tim,
Do I get-
you've
do I get a
also
point
got, yeah,
there?
that's a point
Yes.
for you. Absolutely. You're on the ball.
No nudie run for you.
I'm not a donor. No nudio runs. All right, here we go. Song 3. Should get this.
Oh, Albert.
I'm happy to think.
Oh, crikey. No.
You were about to say,
well, is the artist Bruce Springsteen?
the artist is Bruce Springsteen. That's
And then-
correct. Happy to
what
give
the
you one for that.
Ecstasy.
No idea.
Remember, what's the theme?
Is it? Yeah, I can't remember a running related.
I'll go
lyric,
Bali
but
next.
Oh, no, you go.
Just running.
I think that's an Evermore song. No, it's
Actually,
not that.
I don't know either.
Is it Thunder Road? I don't know.
Nah, it's Born to Run.
That's exactly what I was going to say. But yeah, I was getting mixed up with my Brian Adams Run to You. I was going to say
that's
Born
right.
to Run.
That's right. Okay, so
Born to
that's
Run.
what's that give us? Mikus 2, Skin 2, Tim 1.
Yep.
But
You don't have to rub it in.
there we go. Sorry. this one tougher, I reckon. This one.
Oh, great.
what you need. Here you go.
Oh, no.
Big in Guitar Hero,
Yeah.
this song. Artist is harder, but song easy. It's not going to get much easier than this.
Yeah, I know.
I've got to stop it there, really. Anything from anyone?
I don't think it is this, but I want to say Hotel California.
Oh, so close, not really. But yeah, no, it was.
No, I was going to say another song name that had the word running in it. I was going to say We Are Running.
The song is Band on the Run. By Paul McCartney and the
no.
Wings, particularly or potentially. So no points there. Bad luck, everyone. There's one more song to go. I'm quite enjoying this. It's not been a great game in terms of the performances
bad.
of you guys, but I've enjoyed it quite a bit. I think it's still 2-2 between Mikus and Skin, though. That's the problem.
So if I get this,
You win.
I can win it.
Yeah,
And it's
100%.
always 5 points for the last one.
It's always
anyway,
bonus
so
points.
Yeah, I don't think that'll matter, to be fair.
There you go. You should get it. It's newer, though.
Oh, I know the song.
I know this song.
Yeah.
I've heard this song a million times.
I've written that.
Oh, everyone's going to be sitting at home. That's you idiots.
It's a lot harder in person, guys.
If it helps, he also sings Freaky Friday.
Okay.
and-
Yeah, carry on.
Oh,
And With You.
is it Chris Brown?
It is Chris
Okay,
Brown.
yeah.
The song is. Someone else could still steal the points here. There's more for the
Let's
artist.
run.
Run.
Any other variations, Skin?
Running.
Skin, I'm going to give the points to you because it was auto-corrected. You tried to say Run It.
Yes,
And you said
exactly.
Running.
So it's still 3-3.
It's Run It by Chris Brown, indeed. I don't know how we split a winner there, but that's a wonderful game. Well done. I'm not sure who that correcting's for either because neither of you
one.
really got it right. But it
That was abysmal. That was really bad.
I was really happy to get off 0. To be honest.
Tim, I think you've done particularly well. That was very, very good. And you've been great to chat to on this particular podcast episode too, mate. Congratulations. Obviously, it's a fantastic example of someone that has got the chocolates. There's no question. We call ourselves We Got the Chocolates, but I think in comparison to what you've done, we're probably not quite there. But you most certainly have got the chocolates, man, and we appreciate you making yourself available so soon after you run to come in and have a chat to us.
No, awesome, guys. Thanks so much for having me, and thanks for all the support and all the messages along the way. Awesome.
So good, man. Thank you.